Hi, I'm Jason Bryan from the Short-Time Wrestling Podcast and founder of the Mat Talk Podcast Network. Shows on the network are individually owned and operated, and those opinions presented and expressed may not reflect others, the sponsors, patrons, or the parent network. Find more shows about the greatest sport in the world at the Mat Talk Podcast Network at mattalkonline.com.
The mind of Pat Popolizio is a wondrous thing. And for you Pack wrestling fans, you'll get to go inside the mind of the Skip each and every episode here on the Pack Mentality Pop-Ins podcast. Now, here's your host, NC State Director of Athletics Digital Communications, Brian Reinhardt.
Off-season content in full gear here on the Pack Mentality Pop-Ins podcast. We waited a couple weeks, let some emotions die down, long season, but we're here, postseason wrap-up. Head coach, Pat Popolizio.
Brian, always great to see you. I was happy you returned my call to get things rolling here. It's been a while.
I think we gave each other a couple weeks. I kind of relaxed during those 2 weeks.
Yeah, I know. You stopped answering my calls.
But unfortunately, we're in the off-season, but as you know, wrestling has no off-season.
No, it's full go. We're obviously, we sent a couple guys out to Iowa to wrestle in the Bill Farrell, and moving right ahead, going to Las Vegas at the end of the week for the U.S. Open. So it is going to be an action-packed month and then some.
I was going to say, a lot of action coming up. We're going to get over everything. You were out of town this past weekend. Guys are going out of town. How is it? I mean, you see it. Guys are able to do clinics now. How does that help an individual student athlete?
Well, it's good for them. One, they get the professional development of teaching and coaching, but also a way for them to give back. You know, they're role models for a lot of kids that are up and coming. So it's great for them to kind of share their story, share their skill set that they have. And then obviously the end goal is for everyone to benefit financially. So it's a great way for these guys to make some money doing what they love to do.
And I guess we're going to go through some different things here. One thing, great segue, 2020 Wolfpack Wrestling Camps. The link is now active.
Camps are up and running.
I was going to say, guys look forward to it. They get to teach. I think coaches look forward to it. You guys, get a little different meetings and everything. But we're looking at early July already, so just starting. But what is an NC State wrestling camp for those that might not know?
Well, it's a good way for us to educate kids on our mentality, our philosophy, for coaches to learn about our culture here, how we've gone about building up to where we're at, and just the way we run things. And then more than anything, kids are surrounded by our athletes for the days that they're here, whether it's a 3-day, 4-day, or 5-day camp. Some are a little longer, but it's good because I've noticed our guys interacting with kids that have come to camp. Still, whether it's on social media or just through text message, guys communicate a lot. And I bet half our roster in our room right now, most of those kids at some point came to an NC State camp and built up a relationship with someone on staff. So I think it's a good way for everyone to spend a little more time than a day or two and really getting to know a lot about the program or the coaching staff.
Heard some great Nick Reynan stories back in the day.
Nick Reynan's probably the greatest camp counselor we've had come through. Okay. You can tell by your sarcasm. No, Nick's done a good job. He's worked a lot of camps in the past and probably doing a lot this summer with us.
Okay. Wolfpack fans, go to wolfpackwrestlingcamps.org. Tons of information there. Looking at early July. You want your kids to learn from the 4-time ACC champs. Come camp with the Pack this summer. Last one, I promise. Another little segue here. Casino night, Saturday.
Big night.
Got rescheduled. It is now going down Saturday, April 9th, 7 o'clock. Obviously, we've talked about this event in the past. Huge fundraiser for the Wolfpack RTC. What can fans look forward to if they buy the tickets and come to casino night this weekend?
They can look forward to me cleaning them up on the poker table, including you, Brian.
That was short-winded there.
No, it'll be a lot of fun. It's always a great event. A lot of different games to be played, and I know there's going to be a lot of good prizes. Definitely in the years past, we've had over 100 people show up to it. So we expect another good crowd and a lot of good way to spend some time with people that are connected to the program. Our guys will be out there for RTC athletes. A couple of them will be in there as well. And a lot of good raffles, and looking forward to people coming out and supporting us.
This is the last plug. WolfpackRTC.org. There's still room. Come to casino night Saturday night.
You coming?
Maybe. I'm a maybe.
Yep.
I'm pending.
Let me guess, you can be at the Bon Jovi concert.
Yeah, that's right. That is going on. Well, and I have to work earlier that day too. That's a busy day.
Yeah. Brian's hard.
Wolfpack fans, help the RTC out. And we talked about great event. Social in Detroit. I had some fans that came for the first time. They really enjoyed that because they get to interact with you coaches. They get to interact with the student athletes, got some senior speeches. And this casino night's kind of an extension of the social. Just you're getting fans around your athletes and former guys. And it's really cool to see everybody come together and just hang out and get to interact a little bit.
Yeah. And more than anything, our fan base continues to grow. We saw an unbelievable section when we were out there competing. And that, I think it helps a lot with the momentum that we got going and knowing, NC State fans are going to travel, and probably was one of the biggest cheering sections we've had at an NCAA tournament. And the good news is every time you finish in the top 10, I know NCAA gives you so many allotted tickets in the lower bowl. So we'll continue to have that, and should look good out in Oklahoma, in Tulsa, not Oklahoma City.
Tulsa. Come on, man. I know you're excited to get back out.
I am,
but it's in Tulsa next year.
Yeah, I was saying Oklahoma, not Oklahoma City. There you go.
I'm not sure where Tulsa is. I haven't been out there before.
It's in Oklahoma.
But yeah, Detroit was great. Fans, we had that lower section right by the tunnel too. So guys going off the mat after a big win, there is some great applause and just some great celebrations for the fans.
Great energy. That was a great arena to have the NCAA tournament. It was brand new and a lot of neat stuff in that arena. But again, Detroit was a little different. So good food too. But
well, I was going to say, did you have any Little Caesars?
I did not have any Little Caesars. We had really good Italian food out there, so that was a plus. Good steak, and then probably didn't eat for 3 days and when the tournament started. So
I will say we went to lunch at an Italian restaurant.
That Italian place was
that
good.
Chicken parm was probably the best chicken parm sandwich I've ever had.
Yep.
But I had a Little Caesars piece of pizza.
You have to.
I mean, it was from memories. It was great. Speaking of Detroit, NC State came away with the 10th place finish. Only the second time in school history with back-to-back top 10 finishes, 3 All-Americans, and you've actually had 7 over the last 2 years, the most ever in back-to-back seasons. Top 10 finish. We know expectations. You wanted to finish a little bit higher. What did you take away from the NCAAs this year?
Yeah, that's the takeaway is you're always 1 or 2 matches from really being where you want to be, whether it's in a good way or in a bad way. And unfortunately, things didn't fall the way we wanted to in those matches. We could go up and down the lineup with matches that we should have, could have won. That would have been a game changer for us. But, that's why we go and that's why we compete. Personally, for myself, it's the 3rd highest finish as a coach. So there's a lot to be thankful for and a lot to be excited for. But I know we've risen those expectations to be, in the hunt for a trophy, which I think we had the talent. We had. I think the problem is where it gets challenging and tough on everyone is we know we've done all the right things to put ourselves in position for that. And, sometimes you don't get what you set out to do. And there's a lot of individuals that leave that tournament feeling the same way. And it's the same for us as coaches. You always want to be at the top of your game going into those tournaments. And there was just a lot of little things that didn't fall our way. And I felt like we did so many things right to prepare for it, but that's what good competition is. And, let's face it, we had 5 new guys going into that tournament for the first time ever. So the takeaway from that is they got valuable experience going in the next year. And I like where we're at I believe we got 7 guys returning that have NCAA experience. So that's going to be critical. You combine that with some of the kids coming in next year that we think are going to start right away. We're going to be in a really good spot again. But we're bringing in a lot of new faces, and it's a good time to get some new young energy in this program.
I was going to say we use the kind of moniker last ride all year, and definitely the last ride. so many jeez, I can't even say that one. Super seniors.
Yep.
That's a good tongue twister. And then just some other guys leaving the program. A lot of new guys coming in. I think the summer is going to look a lot different for you this year, don't you think?
Yeah. I mean, we've already started. I love where we're at in the room already. It's a lot of focus. We've a lot of guys have moved on right now, so the numbers are a little bit smaller, and there's a lot of good concentration for the guys, and the focus is going to be good. And then we start trickling in these freshmen that are very talented, very ready and willing to be ready to go for us next year. And I envision 2 or 3 true freshmen starting for us next year, and that's good. That's going to push some of these guys that are here right now, and they know if they're not working, they're going to get passed up by some young talent. So competition's healthy. That's where we're at now. They're just where we've arrived as a program. We're always going to have good guys coming through and young guys that are ready to go. So it's going to be a different off season for us, but I'm excited and looking forward to the challenge that we got to do as a coaching staff to get our guys ready for next year.
I think something we haven't talked about, we're going to do a senior salute, focus on some of the guys that are leaving the program, not leaving the program overall, but leaving it as a student athlete. 4-suit, senior suit, man, that's
super senior.
That is the second
it's
time.
It's like supersize. I know you do that one.
I actually used to.
I know you do.
But I wasn't the person that got the Diet Coke with the supersized meal.
Oh, God.
Who wouldn't want more French fries with their meal?
Yeah, you
it just
do.
makes sense. Nick Reyna came back for this year.
Yep.
Fans didn't see him a lot in competition, but he was in the room a lot, working with a lot of your upper weights. What did Nick kind of do behind the scenes for you this year?
He's grown a lot as a person, and I think he's said it himself, and you've had conversations with him, and you can hear probably on some of the podcasts, but I know his career didn't go the way that he planned, and sometimes that happens in college athletics with injuries. He dealt with a lot of adversity and matured a great deal. And this past year, his leadership role, I think, was extremely valuable. He was a guy in the beginning of his career that, really wasn't doing a whole lot. We needed help with X, Y, and Z. And this year, any road trip we went on, he was a guy that would carry something for us, grab some, anytime we needed help, Reyna would probably be the first guy to respond and be there. And he has become a total team player. And I think that speaks to, his maturity and then also the culture of our program. And I think he's going to set himself up to be extremely successful post-college and probably, if he wants to stay involved in wrestling, and be a really good coach at some point.
I was going to say, he went out. He was one of the guys that went out to Iowa. Unfortunately, no one else weighed in his weight class, but he qualified for the World Team Trials. You see him continuing wrestling here?
And that's something, on top of coming to our practices this past year, he was working out with Tommy Gant and helping him get ready. And I think that's why you see Tommy making some good strides. Rena's one of the best in the country freestyle-wise, being in the Final X a couple years back. It wouldn't surprise me if he makes a good run in freestyle or Greco, depending on what he commits to. But he's got the skill set to be one of the best guys in the country. And, I think having a year of being close to 100% health-wise, he could be a dangerous force come moving forward here, wrestling in the U.S. Open and the trials.
So we will see Reyna in action going forward. Another guy that came back, part of the twin Bullards, Thomas Bullard, came back without his brother this year. So definitely different dynamic for Thomas this year, but consistent at 165. You're never going to get the hard ride. Kind of wrap up Thomas's career here at NC State.
Yeah, he's been a guy that's found his way in our lineup, for the 5/6 years that he's been here. I know he redshirted the 1 year, but he's been a huge impact, just a total buy-in when it comes to our culture here at NC State. And you hit it on the head. You knew every time that Thomas was going to go out there and wrestle, he was going to give it 100%, and it was going to always be gritty, and he was going to put himself in position to win matches. And, it's a lot like a lot of guys go through their career. Sometimes you don't end it the way you want it to be, but I know he's going to look back, 10, 15 years down the road and be proud of the just the stuff that he's contributed to NC State to help us get to where we're at and the team finishes. He's helped us win 4 ACC titles. And you look at those 6 guys, the 6-year guys that were in a lineup the way they were, those guys have a big impact on that. And Thomas definitely, I think every year at the ACC tournament and maybe I'm wrong on this one, but I think he was top 3.
Yep, got a podium finish every year. At the
and
NCCs.
that's not an easy task to do, especially as their conference has grown and got tougher. And got to go to the NCAA tournament five times. So valuable experience and always helping push guys get better in the room, and thankful for all he's done for us.
4-time All-American, somebody you talked about who's really grown this year. Tariq Wilson didn't have to cut weight. He told me that was an excuse where he was always smiling too this year.
It's true. No more headphones.
Showman. I mean, everybody loved it when Tariq went out there. Reynolds erupted. Tariq had such a good time going out there performing for the fans. And he came in as a top 100 kid, but I think might have exceeded those rankings when he came in with the results that he got here. 2-time ACC champion, 4-time All-American. Still a little bit of a question what's going on with him in the future. You know, we're still working on that. But Tariq Wilson, I mean, everybody's going to remember him here at NC State.
100%. You know, I look at him as an overachiever for what he's accomplished. You know, never winning an Ohio State title, coming here a little under the radar, and it didn't take him long to make a name for himself and become a fan favorite at the NCAA tournament. And just, you knew you were going to get his A game when he went out there to compete. And true competitor, just has a different type of swag to him that was much needed for our team. And just the way he presented himself, his personality, his jokes, you know, that stuff helps behind the scenes with our guys, especially when we get into some tough competitions. He just had this blind faith of confidence that was well needed for a lot of guys. And it just, he's fun to watch. He's probably one of the guys where people show up and they're like, can't wait to watch Tariq wrestle, because you know you're going to get something a little unique and different out there and high-level wrestling.
I tweeted out he was Mr. Saturday at the NCAAs.
That's crazy stat.
5-0, 5 major decisions. And the best part of it is, I mean, he lost the night before. So to get your mindset right, cut weight, come back on Saturday, and just the performances that he had in those placement bouts, very memorable.
Yeah. And I mean, I think it speaks to, you know, a lot of our team, a lot of those guys bouncing back Saturday and wrestling through to come back for third, is, especially when you know the main goal is already taken away from you. I think that speaks to the character of the kids that are competing for us.
Wasteland Invitational.
That was the best line. We're going to be using that one moving forward.
And obviously the last senior, Hayden Henderson, 5-time All-American, 4-time ACC champ. I mean, we could spend a whole podcast with his accolades.
Yes.
What he's done for the program. But now moving forward, we've already announced he's staying within the program.
Yep.
He's hanging up the wrestling shoes, he's going to get that coaching whistle. So you've had some conversations already with Hayden about what's going to happen next year moving forward. What do you see his contributions continuing to be for NC State wrestling?
Yeah, he's going to have a huge impact on what we're doing. You need youth in a program. You need to be able to relate to the current guys, the younger guys coming in. I think he's going to have a major impact in what we're trying to do recruiting-wise. Obviously, he's a name brand, and he's a name brand from a state that we try really hard to continue to get.
It's a great state up there.
It definitely is. So, you know, when you define what our culture is, I think he's been one of the best leaders I've ever been around. Just he carries himself the right way. You know, I think his interview at the NCAA tournament speaks to all that and a testament to him as a human being. But I wanted to make sure we continue to have that around so that can rub off on the current guys and the future guys that are coming through this program. And I think he's gonna make one heck of a coach if that's something he decides he's going to do long term. I know in the short term he's going to be phenomenal, and you know where you're getting with him. And that's not even talking about the technical side of things in the room. You know, you've watched him wrestle, and he's technically sound in so many ways. And you saw probably, to me, the best wrestling I've ever seen out of him at the NCAA tournament. Not cutting a single pound. Maybe a little undersized at 74 and still going out there and wrestling. Just some of the stuff that he was hitting was just phenomenal. And that
you knew he was an inside trip guy.
Yeah, inside trip, and then the throw that he hit in third and fourth is just like, I think that's what you want from the guys going out. You know, they left everything on the table, and we got to continue to use those skill sets and push him off to other guys that are going to be here. But no, I'm pumped that he's going to be around. He's a great mind to pick with current guys. He's going to be a great resource for us as coaches because it's fresh off his career going through the grind that we got to go through, and we can bounce ideas off him, and I'm sure it's going to pay off down the road for us. And we're close, and I think, once Tariq gets back from being at home, to lock that down too, to get him at least one more year here to do some grad work. So we're gonna.
Oh, I thought you were gonna tease another year on the mat here.
Yeah, we'll see. See if the NCAA will come back, give him another year.
There's a lot of guys that are wrestling for 7 years now in the NCAA.
I guess.
Why can't we get a couple?
Yeah.
Not a super senior, but one guy I want to kind of touch on. ACC Rookie of the Year, Ed Scott. I was very vocal. He didn't get the most outstanding wrestler at the ACC tournament, but heck, we got him that ACC Rookie of the Year award. Your third Rookie of the Year, Kevin Jack, Trent Hidley. Hayden, he was a finalist, but he wasn't eligible back then.
That's so crazy.
Well, you have a good SID that got that changed.
I know.
And now red shirts and normal
it needs to be.
are eligible. But Ed Scott, ACC champion, defeated a former national champion in the final, went in as the number 4 seed of the NCAA. I know those 2 losses, they probably pissed him off just as much as last year.
Yep.
So he's going to have a great summer. But he's really somebody, wasn't in the rankings when the season started, got some great wins, and just the heart and soul of your team there right in the middle with his bonus points this year.
Yeah, and that was a big factor in the rise of this year's team, as far as dual meets go, ACCs and NCAAs. But yeah, for a freshman, to carry that kind of pressure going in the NCAA tournament is not an easy task to do. But he, still had some really good wins there, and I think we left a lot of room on the table to improve. And I know that's fueling the fire for him, is to train this off season. We're going out to the U.S. Open, so he'll wrestle in seniors there, and it's going to continue to get better. But he's going to be a major factor in next year's team. We need his leadership, and that's something we're going to continue to work on. And the growth for the younger guys is who's going to be the next leader in our team. And I'm not talking just on the mat. We need it behind the scenes. And Ed Scott obviously can be one of those guys, and I hope he's up for that challenge.
Ed changed a lot this year. He's a lot more vocal, joking around, laughing.
Well, that's because he's up a weight class too, Brian. If I dropped you to 135, you wouldn't be too happy.
It is funny. All these guys use that as the excuse of why they didn't talk or joke the year before they go up in weight class. But, oh man, I totally forgot what I was going to say, but yeah. Okay. Every fan wants to know, I've said this answer before, pins, you cannot throw the brick.
No. Once a pin is called, the only thing you can challenge is an illegal hold before the pin, but you cannot challenge a fall. So, yes, and I'm sure people want to know that fall that happened in the round of 12 with Ed. It was a little fast because I didn't even see any second or two of stopping. It was literally a roll through scramble, and the official wasn't even in place to call it, but he did, and you can't argue it. So at that point, it is what it is. We just hopefully don't make that mistake again.
U.S. Open, late April in Las Vegas, same weekend as the NFL draft. Tons going on there. I saw a couple of your incoming guys are going to be there. I think Tommy's going there. And obviously, you're going to have current guys there. So you're going to be taking a large crew to this U.S. Open. Obviously, freestyle, but how does this help the Wolfpack program by taking guys to a competition like this in the offseason?
Yeah, I want to say we're taking 12 to 14 guys, or I think total travel party. I don't know. I got to go back through because it keeps changing. We keep adding a couple guys. This is high-level competition. This is obviously some of the best guys in the country, whether it's 20 and under or the senior level. And one thing we got to do is compete with the best teams and guys in the country. And we're struggling getting it on our schedule. There's not a lot of teams that are willing and able to duel us. So we got to hit these tournaments in the off season. And that's a big part of our schedule. Being tougher is wrestling these events. It doesn't stop just because our season ended. We still can get better and get these feels for high-level competition. So this is one of them.
Speaking of which, fans also want to know, are we hitting any tournaments next year?
So one of the projects I have Hayden working on is doing an analysis with the top guys from this past year and the year before COVID and how many tournaments they wrestled in and their match count. But yeah, we have Vegas back on the schedule. You got to remember, going in last year, COVID was still a major factor in and keeping guys out. So we were limited on what we thought we could schedule. And I think next year we're going to go after it. And I think we're going to get our match count back up to, 30. And like I said, we're struggling getting good, hard, tough duels. So we're going to have to get them in tournaments. And that's the way we're going to see some high-level competition.
I think it was a little different, too. You had a lot of older guys this year. They didn't need 30 matches.
No, and it was hard. Right when the scuffle was coming, we were planning on going, and then there was some setbacks with COVID, and we realized it wasn't in the best interest long-term for the guys. It was a risk of sending them there and then sitting for 2 to 3 weeks as we were getting ready to go into, ACC duels. We figured we would not go and risk that. And if the guys that we did send, we had a lot of depth, or guys who were just coming off, their 10 days or whatever they were with COVID. So we sat down with the medical staff and came up with a plan, and we dealt with the situation the best we could. But next year, I think it's time to move forward and get our schedule a little tougher, a little more match count, and be ready to go.
Hey, you punished us by going up to Jersey for 3 days for one duel.
Well, again, that goes to COVID.
I will never forget.
And we're thankful Princeton even wrestled.
That is true.
They had a lot of guys that were out.
Their team looked a lot different back then compared to the season.
And so we, again, we want to see and that was a team willing to wrestle us that has a lot of good guys. So we got to take advantage of that.
I will never forget that trip.
It was a good trip.
Yeah, not from my end. All right, last thing, get you out of here. I think I told you about this, but now I can't remember. Tuesday, April 12th, baseball, UNC Wilmington. We're throwing out the first pitch.
Yeah.
We got a couple guys going to be throwing out the first pitch. Also, a special presentation. We didn't get to honor him for the 100th career win inside Reynolds, but Tariq Wilson went over 100 career wins.
We didn't have to tell him that it was the round at 12 was his 100.
We didn't
want to add a little more pressure to that match going in. He had 99 wins.
Tariq did get that 100th win at the NCAAs, but going to present him with that championship belt. I know the guys love that because it's not a plaque. It's something different.
It's pretty cool, but we got it.
Have you thrown out a first pitch before?
I sure did, and I put it right down the street.
I was going to say, did you?
I don't know if you see my build. I'm built like a pitcher.
Were you on the mound?
Heck yeah.
Okay.
I got an arm.
Some guys move up.
No, not me.
But anyway, come out, support NC State Wrestling at the NC State baseball game on April 12th. Throwing out the first pitch and just honoring the guys. Maybe last time you're going to get to see some of these guys. I know you guys have some things coming up. Team banquet. I know Boo's having the team over for dinner. Yep. So you're still going to be around these guys.
We got Wolfies too.
You got the Wolfies. There's a lot of stuff. Got graduation.
Yeah, we do.
We're student athletes.
We have
here.
a very, very, very busy April, and
but it's great to bring everybody together.
Yeah,
emotions have calmed down since the NCAA tournament.
Yep.
I know you guys are in the room, but this is something off the mat. Guys can relax, be themselves, and you get to enjoy them a little bit more.
Yeah, we'll have a team dinner. We'll do it at my house. Give out some end of the year awards that guys earned, and we're not going to just have chicken and broccoli. We're going to do it up a little more calories and fried food and dessert this time.
I was going to say, I think some of the guys like the summer eating a little bit.
Yeah, they're sick of my fried or grilled chicken, broccoli, and a little bit of rice.
Yeah, I know you broke out the marinara sauce one day. They were all shocked.
Yeah. Well, here's how that started. Trent and Hayden came in for a team meal and went and talked to me. I knew we had to make some changes. Those guys were they were really upset.
I heard pouting.
Pouting was a good one, good word, but they refused to speak to me because, consistency is key. And we were doing our pre-match meals night before, and I think, eating healthy is key. So we kept getting the same thing, but I think I broke them this year. So their protest won, and I've changed up our menu since.
Compromise. It's always great sometimes.
Yeah. Well, there's a way to go about it. They could have asked instead of just not talking to me at the team meal.
Yeah, but I feel like it was more effective.
Yeah, I see you do that to me on the road trips.
All right. Wolfpack fans, continue to follow NC State Wrestling on Twitter at Pack Wrestle. A lot of off-season action. There is no off-season for the coaches, for the student athletes, especially none for the SID. So let's get some good results. Pat, can't wait to go see these guys in action freestyle.
Yeah, it's going to be a good month of competition. So we're excited, and hopefully we can get you out there too, Brian. And I think we set a record today with the longest podcast.
It was. We are at 29 minutes. Brian and Pat talking. I don't think this ever happens.
You said 30 before, and I told you I think we can get it done.
I know we're stringing here to try to get that final minute, but want to thank everybody for listening today. This is your Pack Mentality Pop-Ins podcast covering all things NC State wrestling. Until next time, Wolfpack wrestling fans, go Pack.
The Pack Mentality Pop-Ins podcast is produced by the Matt Talk Podcast Network. For more wrestling podcasts, go to MattTalkOnline.com.